what I'm thinking of, but I mean, yeah.
Where's your shirt?
Oh, yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I'm rocking Venom today.
He's rocking Venom today. Hello, I am Chris from Deus Ex Machina, and I am with
Dave from Rampant Wolf Games.
And we are here to talk about cooperative games, specifically Quirky.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think Quirky meant?
For me, Quirky meant things that made you just go, huh.
Things that make you go,
oh. You know, honestly, it was either they had a weird mechanic or they had weird components. That was basically what
I think for me it was anything, because people rallied about cooperatives kind of following a certain formula. Player has a turn, bad guys do something. Players have a turn, bad guys do something.
Or all players have a turn, bad guys do something.
Yeah. That's a bit more unusual, though. But as Tom said it once, it was just like something good happens, something really bad happens. Something good happens, something really bad happens. And this continues on until you win or you lose.
Yeah.
So my games are ones where it certainly does not follow that formula.
Yeah. Yeah, mine were mostly just odd or something new.
So I just want to, because I have prying eyes. All right, so number 5. Snip, snip, snip. No trident this time.
Nope.
My number 5 is called Samurai Spirit. Have you heard about this one? It is a small box game. It's about yay big. It is very much inspired by Seven Samurai, which of course became... Yeah, it's been used a lot. Seven Samurai is one of the classic Japanese stories. It's been played a lot. I can't remember what the American Western version is called. Magnificent Seven. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So the Magnificent Seven is a play on that one. Samurai 7, which is a fantastic big giant robot version of it. And every time they remake it, they somewhat randomize who dies. Because you're like, oh yeah, 7 samurai, these 3 samurai make it out, and it's always a different set of 3 guys. And I thought it was really interesting. It was almost like they throw craps and go, okay, which are the 3 samurai that make it out of this one? Samurai Spirit is very much like that. You have a wonderful tiny little village, and you're all playing as samurais defending it from bandits. It does get a little wushu, because eventually you could transform into a beast mode, quite literally turn into a monster. Not really a monster, like a bad monster, but you channel your animal spirit, and next thing you know, you become a lot more powerful. It's almost like blackjack. You have to play down enemies and get them to add up to 11. You have to get them to add up. You have to keep on pushing it until they get to 11. So you're constantly using your abilities, having people cooperate with you until you can get exactly to 11. And if you do that, then you basically players keep on doing their turns until they have literally, the whole point is that you have to get through the entire enemy deck. And if all the enemy cards are all distributed among all the players, then you've beaten them. But if there's one guy that you can't, then you lose the game. So it's a big...
They're the weakest link.
It's a weakest link, but it's a big puzzle. It's a really big blackjack-style puzzle. You have to do that 3 times. It is not easy. It's not an easy game. We have one, but it's neat because it's entirely card-based. There's no enemies now do this, flipping an event, and the box is like this big, so it's like $25-$30. It's really, really, really neat. The graphic design is awesome. If you see this graphic design, it is really neat, but I like it because once again, it's a completely different way of doing a cooperative game, and that's kind of why I zeroed in on that one. It doesn't get a lot of attention nowadays, which is really, really too bad, but it's very expensive. That's number 5, Samurai Spirit.
All right, my number 5 I selected because of the components, and that is Forbidden Sky.
Ooh, you're gonna get flack for that one.
I know.
It's quirky, yeah. I would say quirky from a mechanical. I totally throw that out. I went for pure mechanicals. I didn't have anything with an aesthetic, but I can see that.
Well, it also is a quirky mechanic because stuff just doesn't quite... It's not easy to use the components.
Yeah, because the whole point of the game is literally creating an electronic circuit.
Yeah.
That creates a little robot, a little electronic spaceship.
Yeah.
That's something we would have played with when we were 4.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good game. I enjoy it.
So you were the one guy, yeah?
Yeah, I'm the one guy.
I'm sure I'd like it. I just
Yeah, no, I can see why it gets some
for me,
vitriol.
What's been kind of putting me off is just it's so much more expensive than the other 2.
Yeah, and some of the things that bug out some people, which is I find hilarious because these are the same people who complained that the other ones came in tins and this one didn't. Yeah. It's just like, make up your mind. Be mad or don't be mad. Like, you know?
Yeah, this one's in a box and a bit bigger box. I had no problem with the tin. I thought the tin was unique. I thought that was quirky.
So that was my number 5, Forbidden Sky.
My number 4 is a game which... And this is a funny thing. I don't know if I really love this game. I know you've had issues with it. It's called Mysterium.
No, I love that game. That's pretty good.
It's an okay game. It's an interesting game. I think the game has the one fault that I feel that there's a real mechanical disconnect between the last act of the game and the rest of it, where everything kind of falls into this kind of ultimate final value where you get a couple of guesses to guess the actual course. And it's weird too because it just doesn't seem like those two games, like the last half. Yeah. But it's certainly quirky.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is cooperative because not even the one guy out wants everyone to win.
Yeah.
So it's truly cooperative, but it's also I'm never seen a situation like that almost when it's always one and the rest. It's always one versus, not one with the rest.
Yep.
And I always argue, and this is something that is not very popular in my opinion. I always think that that's how every D&D game should be.
Yeah.
It should be one. It's the dungeon master helping the players have fun. When it's one versus all, I think that's the worst type of DM and the worst type of gaming experience. So that's why I like Mysterium for what it is. So that's my number 4 pick, Mysterium. I've never won Mysterium because I always get saddled with people that have they make the strangest mental connections.
Yeah, I've had this problem where I've been I'm usually the ghost, and I'll be there.
I've never been the ghost,
and I've given out the clues.
Yeah,
and I'm watching around the room, and people are getting the clues, and then there's that one person in the room, or either that. So I've had two. There's that one person in the room that derails the entire group.
He
gets them to change all of their guesses.
Yeah,
or there's the entire group that has no idea what they're talking about, but there's the one person who's like, I'm on the same wavelength with them, and they're picking it, and they're trying to rally the troops in the right direction, and they're not listening to that one person. It's just
that was me in my last game, which was funny too because I was the stranger in the group. Like, I was invited to this group. I didn't really know the ghost. I didn't know his wife, who was another player, and I was good friends with a few other people. But I had no relationship preview with the ghost, and I got every single one right. His wife got, and none of his friends got any of them right. So I'm like, you and we obviously know what we're talking about, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So
all right, so
that's my number 4 pick, Mysterium.
So my number 4 pick for cooperative quirky game is Rising 5. Now the reason I'm calling it quirky is because really, honestly, if you think back to when Mastermind first came out, it was so 70s. Like, it wasn't even 80s. It was 70s. It was like the Mastermind was like a leisure suit guy on the front of the box and stuff, in a shadow and stuff.
I had to look that up to do a previous video about Mastermind.
And quirky just because you're controlling all the other players.
Yeah.
And you're not controlling a player that is your player. But it's just how they took that old, outdated, weird, trippy game that I did have and reskinned it, made it better.
And thanks to the app, made it fully cooperative.
Yeah. So that's why I found it quirky. So that's my number 4.
I would agree with you. It didn't make my list. It was high. Like, it was 5 or 6. It was 6 or 7. It got pushed out because I felt that I felt like the other games I have were just so different.
Yeah.
So Rising 5 got pushed out because it does have some quirkiness with the app integration and playing all the characters and so forth.
Yeah.
But I still felt that it just didn't. It barely didn't.
Gotta make sure I keep the label this way. Product placement, right?
Nestle.
Refreshing.
Give me money. So my number 3 pick for cooperative quirky games is The Grizzled.
Oh, yeah.
The Grizzled is a bizarre game. It's once again pocket game like this. It doesn't have something bad happening. You flip a card that tells you your mission if you have that expansion. If not, you're just simply trying to get rid of the cards in your hand. It does have an annoying mechanic that you can't communicate with people in the basic. I mean, in the kind of tutorial or the easier version of the game, you can communicate to make it easier. It's still really tricky because this is a definition of something that's almost semi-cooperative. There's a game that's semi-cooperative. This is the closest game to that because you have to survive. you have to follow, and if you have conditions, you have to meet them, right? But in the same case, you still lose the game if anyone else loses.
Yeah.
But you still, but you're like, I'm sorry, I can't do what you want me to do because I'm literally compelled by this condition in my hand. So it's one of those things where you want to win, but you're being held back by this impedance. And so the whole point is everybody, so a person be like, I'm sorry, and they put down a card, and then they lose the game. It's not that they want to and to screw you over. It's simply they have no choice. And so it's a very tricky game. The normal version of the game gets really difficult. The easy game, cakewalk. Normal game, or if you do the At Your Orders expansion, which actually makes things one element easier and another element more difficult, it gets really tricky. But yeah, the entire game is simply trying to get rid of the cards in your hand. You can't communicate with people. So you're trying to find ways to it's almost similar to Samurai Spirit, where you're trying to get rid of the cards in your hand, which are bandits, and you're all working together to try to find a way to get these cards out. And if you manage to get rid of all the cards in your hand, then you succeeded in the mission, and you continue to do that until one of these two decks is empty. If this deck is empty and you reveal the grave, these guys don't survive World War I. Big disclaimer, though, it is a grim game. Even though it has this very quirky art style, it's set in World War I. It's about you guys surviving a war. There's no shooting, there's no killing of German Krauts. It's simply you trying to make it out of the war, and in one piece. And it's further compounded that the artist, the guy who did all the artwork, was one of the guys who got killed in the Charlie Hebdo attacks in France. So it's like, on top of the grim subject matter, it gets one step further once you find out that the artist unfortunately was murdered in a terrorist attack. So that's my happy number 3, the Grizzled.
All right.
It's
my number 3 quirky game
PTSD
is Run, Fight, or Die.
Oh.
The reason I find it quirky is because how it works is you end up having... So you're all playing the game together, and you have 3 zones for your mat, and the zombies build up in your 3 zones moving towards you and try to kill them before they get to you. The problem
sounds
being
like Plants vs. Zombies.
Problem being is that everybody has their own mat. So you're all taking on different amounts of zombies. However, abilities will transfer zombies from your board to other people's boards. And the reason it's cooperative is because if any of you die, the game is over.
That's a big condition.
Yeah.
Because the moment you take that away, it becomes a gotcha game. It's like,
it becomes a gotcha game. So now you're trying to help each other, but by the same token, you're also still trying to fend off what's coming at you. So it's quirky in the sense.
I've not heard of this one.
It's by Richard Lanius.
Okay.
Yep. And they did a reprint of it recently. I did start back in, and then I was like, "Why? I already have it." And then actually, I think it was Simon might have grabbed it to do the reprint. I don't know. Honestly, it's interesting because they have a whole bunch of expansions, and it has a very quirky expansion called "We're Worth the Wait," I think it is, and it's basically a bunch of female characters with cell phone dice, and everything is pink, and it's like it doesn't like hold back on the sexism on that one. It's like wham right in your face. I'm just like whoo. But it's funny because of course with the cell phone thing, it's like if you roll the cell phone icon, you track more zombies because your cell phone's ringing. So it's quirky.
Wow. Well, yeah, no, that is. I'll give it to you. The first one was just like, okay, yeah, right. That one, yeah, no, I'll give you that.
So that's my number 3, Run, Fight, or Die.
Well, okay. My number 2, it's one of those things where it's really tricky just because I'm going to make a quick amendment to mine, or I'm going to do a little bit of I'm going to cheat and have a tie. Because these games are both very, very similar.
Okay.
Originally, I had Mask of Moai, but it's obscure. But I'm kicking it off and putting on Chronicles of Crime.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm putting Chronicles of Crime now instead of Mask of Moai is, oddly enough, they have very similar ideas. Both these games feature, or they lack, player turns. right? It's interesting because Time Stories almost made this mechanic, because Time Stories is another one that kind of breaks that mold, because you reveal the card, someone reads out something, and then all the players put their meeples wherever they're going to be doing actions, and then you commit to those actions. And that's kind of traditional. So both Master Moai and Chronicles of Crime don't have that, but they still have an integral app assistant. It's not one of those things where, oh, they're just lazy, they took the cards out. But no, there's absolutely a vital reason. I'm really surprised. Now, I was having a conversation with someone about the fact that Chronicles of Crime, despite being about an 80-20 app to physical board game ratio, has been getting us good reviews. I think there's a paradigm shift occurring right now. I think if Chronicles of Crime came out 2 years ago, it would have failed. And people would have said, no, I don't want digital in my game. I'm yelling at clouds. And now here's a game where every card has a QR code, right? But it's also, and it works almost exactly like Time Stories, except it strips out more game out of it. Yeah. So now it operates almost like an exit. And exits are completely amorphous. It's just real time. I love the fact that it says 1 to 4 players, even though there's no characters and no decision making. You could technically it could be a 12-player game, because there is nothing. But they said 1 to 4 players because if they say it's 1 to 12, then people are going to assume it's a party game and they'll get discouraged. They put 1 to 4 players simply to go, oh yeah, 1 to 4 players. You could totally play that game with 6 players. But both Master Moai and Chronicles of Crime both have a moment where you slap your phone into a VR case and you analyze something and you're telling people what you're seeing.
Yes.
In Master Moai, you're literally trying to describe something and somebody's literally shaping it out of clay. That's quirky. Mm-hmm. You're literally shaping something. I was like I said, why aren't you
put categories on this?
Why aren't you Lego? But quite literally, you're using molding putty to shape something that somebody else is saying. But Chronicles of Crime is just more popular. That's why no one knows about. But Chronicles of Crime, somebody's literally slapping on this VR goggle, going through the scenes. I see dead cats. I see syringes, and then the other person's ripping out all the clue cards, and then hopefully you'll hand off the phone to somebody else, and somebody else will scan everything in and get all the information. Yeah. It's a game that could totally be alpha player. Like you could really have an alpha player problem because the guy who holds the cell phone could be like Lord Humongous. Yeah. But yeah, it is definitely quirky because it uses time units, but there's no turns, nothing bad happens. You're just simply trying to solve a crime. Yep. Very interesting. Master Moai is similar VR. I would say Master Moai is definitely quirkier, but it's less popular, so I'm putting Chronicles of Crime on there. But Master Moai, come on, you're molding aliens out of clay. But Chronicles of Crime, that's my number 2 pick.
All right. My number 2 pick for quirky games is going to be...
Are you modifying your list as well?
I am.
I don't feel so bad now.
No, I'm switching with number 1. So my number 2 is Kill Dr. Lucky.
He's not very lucky then, is
he? Yeah, and the reason it's a quirky cooperative game is because it is cooperative in the sense that you're all trying to kill the same guy.
Is he a player?
No.
Oh, so you're all trying to kill an NPC.
An NPC.
Okay.
But, of course, then somebody will win in the end, but you're all trying to do the same thing, so you're all cooperating to try and kill him.
Yeah, but if one guy's closer to killing them, wouldn't the other people trying to stop him from killing them?
They can.
But that's not cooperative.
I argue it's cooperative because you're all trying to kill the same guy.
It's not, because there's a singular winner. Cooperatives have one.
So that's my number 2, Kill Dr. Lucky. See, that's why I was saving my other one for number 1.
All right. Number 1. Don't agree with that at all.
Oh, yes. All right. My number 1 is Space Cadets by Stronghold Games.
No. Yep. Oh, gotta get that one out of my mouth. Sorry, real time game.
It's not real time.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of Space Alert. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Space Alert, Space Cadet.
Yeah, no. Space Cadets is basically you can have up to 7 people playing this game, and you all are controlling different systems on the ship. But how you control those systems is that you are all playing different mini games in the same game. So this person may be trying to build hands of cards. This person may be trying to match symbols and stuff, and it's really quirky in that sense because you've just got all these different mini games going on, and part of the captain's job is assigning you enough power to give you enough abilities during your mini games to achieve the tasks that you need to do to move the ship, load torpedoes, shoot the bad guys, scan for bad guys, etc. It's really interesting. It's and you don't all do your stuff at the same time, so you can actually break it down to less people if you needed to. So some people can do like two of those functions, but it's really interesting because your helmsman can plot all these things, and so then you go to execute them, and the captain's like, that's not quite what I wanted you to do. Well, it's what I could do with what you gave me.
So it's almost like Mysterium, because there's one guy trying to get everyone else to win with him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. You were talking about how unique Mysterium is, and apparently there's another game right on the list.
Yeah, and it's really...
Where is that?
Which one, Mysterium?
No, I know where Mysterium. Where's Space Cadet?
Space Cadets is right over there. Right beside Police Precinct and Rex.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I've seen the game on the shelf. I think Space Alert rubbed me the wrong way so much. Every time I see Space Alert, no! Space Alert.
There is a timed component, because of course, when you're doing the mini games, you have a certain amount of time to do it. So
that's probably the reason why I thought they were the same.
Yeah. But no, it's quirky, but it's good. The opposite side of that one is Space Cadet's Dice Duel, in which case you split the table and you have teams against each other, real-time dice rolling. Doing the same sorts of things, moving ships around and stuff. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that was my number one, Space Cadets.
My number one is cooperative, but there could be a point where it might not be.
Oh, come on. That's what I just said with Tail.
No. The difference is that this game does not have a betrayal mechanic. And it doesn't have, there's one player, but it is a game where you would both very much like the game to be won in a certain way, but things may not turn out in your favor.
You're talking about Fog of Love.
I'm talking about Fog of Love. Fog of Love is one of the most unique playing experiences. Yes. It almost seems to transcend gaming and becomes a psychological exercise.
Oh yeah, it's literally you're having a relationship, but you're not. It's not turning out how you want it to go.
Yeah, but it might be. Like I said,
it might.
I played the game 3 times. I've not had a situation where we didn't end up together. Right, but I imagine that could be a situation that may pan out where I win the game and she doesn't because I satisfied my satisfaction.
Yeah,
I found out that I wanted to be single.
Well, there's an expansion where it's called we're not meant to last or something, and you actually have to break up.
Yeah. So it's one of what was interesting too is that you both might end up having that. You both may end up finding out. So you don't really know how things are going to work out. So there may come a situation where one person does win and the other person loses, but the vast majority of the time is in a situation where you both want to win, whether or not you stay together or you decide to move apart. I think it's a really interesting experience. It's one of the most entertaining games to watch between two people. I especially, and this is purely personal, I get a lot of excess enjoyment when when we have same-sex friends that are not homosexual playing the game, because it's really quite humorous. Because seeing two men play the game, because they get in their roles, because all my friends are very comfortable with themselves, and seeing two women play the game, a little sexy, not gonna lie. had my wife playing the game with one of her female friends, not gonna lie, kind of thought that was kind of hot. So it's a very entertaining game to play. So that's my number one pick, Fog of Love.
All right. So counting down, my number 5 was Forbidden Sky. Number 4 was Rising 5. Number 3 was Run, Fight, or Die. Number 2 was Kill Dr. Lucky. You could probably swap in Fog of Love if you didn't like that one. And then number 1 was Space Cadets.
And my number 5 was Samurai Spirit. Number 4, Mysterium. Number 3, The Grizzled. Number 2, Chronicles of Crime. Number 1, Fog of Love.
All right. I've been Chris. I've been Dave.
You know why? Because I usually say it first. So And I have been Dave. And remember, the rules are just a suggestion.
You play the game how
actually, your name is just a suggestion. Be whoever you want to be.